Thank you, Michael. Good evening once again. And you couldn't really find two sides in more contrasting moods at this stage of the season in the Sky Bet Championship. Bolton with only one win in 17 games, 8 goals scored at home all season against a West Bromwich Albion side who, of course, scored 7 in one match at the Hawthorns earlier on in the campaign. And they have been able to score goals at every single venue this season. But it's not been enough to take them into the top 2 as things stand at the moment. Leeds and Norwich have been more consistent over the piece, but this is a real opportunity for West Brom at the back end of the Championship weekend to make a point, close the gap on 2 of the 3 teams above them and put them right back in contention for automatic promotion. Bolton Wanderers know a win theoretically could lift them out of the relegation zone, but to do that they would need to win by at least 3 clear goals, and when you've only scored 8 here in the whole season, Neil, maybe that's a big ask.
Yeah, it is a tough ask, to be fair. Just looking at the sides now as they come out, they're shaking hands and going along the lines, and 2 really iconic football strips there. Bolton Wanderers white shirts, dark blue shorts and white socks, and West Brom in that unusual yellow and green striped.
It's a retro kid, isn't it? Yeah. You always think of John Weil with his head cut open and the massive bandage from the 1978 FA Cup semi-final. But
absolutely,
it's a kit which has been very popular for the West Bromwich Albion supporters this season, and they've travelled in good numbers up the M6 on a Monday evening. They're in the top tier of the stand behind the goal away to our right-hand side. Elsewhere around the stadium it is fairly sparsely populated. They're hoping for a crowd of around 14,000 here tonight, which would be above the lowest of the campaign so far. And it's good, I think, that apart from a couple of banners we can see on the far side, that the supporters are keeping their protests outside the stadium, because now is when the Bolton players really need them.
Yeah, it is. It's important that they get behind the side tonight, because, you know, whatever happens in the future for Bolton Wanderers, this is an important game for them. You know, and if they can manage to get anything out of this game tonight, it'll be a good result for Bolton.
Well, there are 3 banners on the far side at the moment which have been unfurled by the Bolton supporters, all saying Anderson out, which refers to the Bolton owner Ken Anderson. 2 of them have now been taken down. I don't think there are any stewards involved there to actually ensure that the Bolton supporters remove their banners. They were told before the game that anything which didn't have a health and safety certificate would be taken away, but there are 4 or 5 banners now being unfurled by the Bolton supporters on the far side as the 2 sides prepare for this game. And a reminder of the team news: 4 changes for Bolton. Wheater, Grounds, Buckley and McGuinness all drop out of the side. Hobbs, Taylor, O'Neill and Donaldson come in. It's Anik in goal, Olkowski, Hobbs, Beavers and Taylor. Murphy and Lowe holding in midfield, with Noon, Amiobi and O'Neill, and then Donaldson as the lone striker. For West Brom, it's the same side which drew 1-1 and dropped more points at home against Norwich last weekend. Johnston in goal, Holgate, Dawson, Hagazi and Gibbs the back 4, Harper, Brunt and Barry in midfield, with Rodriguez, Robson, Kanu and Gale leading their attack. And it's West Brom in their yellow and green stripes who will get the game underway, defending the goal away to our right-hand side in the first half. It is a fearsomely cold night in the West Pennine foothills here at the University of Bolton Stadium, and now a couple of items have been thrown onto the field, and it's more than a couple of items. There are tennis balls which are currently being thrown onto the pitch here, and there must be 15 or 20 balls which have been thrown on by the Bolton supporters, grouped around the corner flag on the far side away to our right. A couple of Bolton players are now going across to the far side to help the ground staff deal with this. Some of the Bolton subs are coming on as well, and the West Bromwich Albion players are now going into a huddle, having been ready to kick off the game. The referee David Webb was about to blow his whistle, but now tennis balls are being thrown all over the playing surface.
Well, it's ridiculous, Nigel, because I just don't think it helps anything. You know, you look at the players, they're ready to go. It just disrupts anything. You know, they're
coming on from this side as well now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they'll have this Bolton side now. They'll have in their minds about a fast start and getting after this West Brom side. And if that's aimed to help this Bolton side, then, well, it doesn't.
Well, second time around, West Bromwich Albion will try and get the game underway. And we saw similar tactics from Hull City supporters during their protests against the owners at the KCOM Stadium last season. But there are a number of Bolton fans who are in that area of the ground on the far side, and we often see fans grouped towards the away supporters to maybe create a bit of tribalism and a bit of rivalry, but on this occasion nothing like that. They are clearly here to make their voices heard and their protests known against the owner, Ken Anderson, as the football does get underway here at the University of Bolton Stadium, the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, and it's a crucial game at both ends of the table. 4th place West Bromwich Albion away to 23rd place Bolton Wanderers, and it's Albion looking to build in the opening moments with Gale on the far side, and he's quickly challenged by Murphy, and it goes behind for the game's first corner.
Yeah, it's a good start by West Brom. Started with a ball straight from kick-off, right in behind this Bolton's back four, forced a corner now, and it's all hands to the pump now for Bolton.
Of course, Harvey Barnes no longer available to take the set pieces for West Bromwich Albion, but they do have so much attacking quality in the team. Hegazi is forward now from the back, and the corner is aimed towards him, and it's his header, but the Egyptians' attempt on goal flies harmlessly over the top, and there was a Bolton player, Mark Beavers, just down inside the 6-yard area, and there's a check on him from the referee, and play will continue.
Yeah, he did well there, Beavers, Nigel, because what he did, he got his body in the way and made it difficult for a West Brom player, and he headed it over the bar, and it's important that they put their bodies on the line tonight. It's one of them sort of games for Bolton.
And a couple of relative newcomers in the West Brom team. Mason Holgate playing on the right, who is on loan from Everton, of course, came through the same stable at Barnsley, which produced John Stones. And Raheem Harper, who's only 18 years of age, made his full debut against Norwich and makes his second start here tonight. And it's headed back towards Sam Johnston, wearing all black, the West Brom goalkeeper, away to our right-hand side. And here is Hegazi with the shock of black shaggy hair. A long ball forward from him onto the chest of Gale on this near side, the right, further forward looking for Brunt, and it's picked up by Amiobi, a gangly figure on this near side. The early ball played forward looking for Donaldson. Dawson's back pass almost plays Johnston into trouble, but he does well to find Dawson, who in the end can cushion a header back towards his goalkeeper, and he quickly bowls it out wide to the far side, and Holgate, who tries to keep the ball in play but has then given the ball away. Here is Murphy now, wide towards the far side, the early cross into the penalty area for Bolton, and it's headed away by Hegazi. Quickly won back though by Lowe. Now Taylor coming forward down the left for Bolton, into the feet of Donaldson on the left corner of the penalty area. Noon now will try and deliver a cross in towards that near post area, and the header glanced on is inches wide. It was Gary O'Neill arriving unmarked, and he was so close to giving Bolton the lead.
Well, that's fantastic timing from Gary O'Neill. He just sets his run off from just inside the penalty area. It's a great pick out by Noon with his quality left foot, and that's inches wide as it drops far wide of the far post. But it just shows you that came from West Brom trying to play out from the back, got caught under pressure, and the cheers that came from the Bolton fans with every tackle that Bolton put in.
3 minutes played, and West Brom make a hash of their clearance, and it's a throw-in for the home side on this near side. Bolton 0, West Brom 0 on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. Olkowski will take the throw-in into the feet of Amiobi, but it's quickly cleared away by the veteran Gareth Barry. Flicked on by Robson Carney, but won well in the air by Hobbs. And now Barry has the opportunity to try and bring it forward again, but he's dragged down by O'Neill. Two grizzled former Premier League veterans there, and it's a free kick for West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, he'll know the route to go, Gary O'Neill. He's playing in that 10 slot at the moment, just in behind Donaldson, and it'll suit him, give him a bit of freedom. It's a great time run there early on to get on the end of that header, and he's capable of that type of thing.
Well, he's the only Bolton player to score a winning goal in the league in the last 18 games, and that came against Rotherham. Bolton with only 18 goals scored so far this season in 27 games, and they had their best start to a season since 2001, including a win at West Brom on the opening day, 10 points from 12. And after 10 games, they were very handily placed just outside the playoff places. But since then, one win in 17, 7 points in that run. And that win over Rotherham on Boxing Day, their only success for some time. Here is Dawson for West Brom. Wide to the far side, and Holgate looking for the run ahead of him of Robson Kanu, but it's dug out on the far side by Olkowski, and it will be another throw-in for West Bromwich Albion, who are the top goal scorers in the Championship. 55 goals so far this season. Their matches have totalled 80 goals for and against, nearly 3 goals a game. They've only kept 3 clean sheets, West Brom, but they've only failed to score on 3 occasions conversely. Here it's Barry, back towards Brunt, who scored here the last time these two sides met at this stadium, which was Bolton's final game in the Premier League back in May 2012, with an excellent ball wide to this near side. Looks for Gibbs, but it's Amiobi who stretched it out a telescopic leg to win the ball in the air. Gibbs was appealing for a high foot, but nothing is given, and here is Rodriguez wide towards Gibbs, and now Brunt on this near side, the West Bromwich Albion left. He rather sold Dawson short with the pass, and as a result Amiobi will try and get his long legs moving over the halfway line, and he's been fouled by Brunt, and it will be a free kick to Bolton Wanderers just inside West Brom territory with 6 minutes played, 0-0.
Yeah, he did well there, Amiobi, because they've started well, West Brom. They're much more measured of the two sides. They're moving the ball about the pitch really well. They look comfortable in possession. They're working this Bolton midfield, but they're sticking to the task, Bolton, and they've caught them a couple of times in possession and they've broke, and that was a perfect example of it there, where the ball was won by Amiobi and he broke play up. It gives Bolton a chance to put the ball in the box.
And the Pole, Pavel Olkowski, will take the free kick. Donaldson will be the main focal point, but it's beyond him, and it's nodded back into the penalty area by Hobbs. West Brom will clear and then hook back in by Beavers just beyond O'Neill, who once again was breaking beyond the striker, but it's gathered by Johnston, who quickly clears downfield. And what a ball that is to find Dwight Gale, who cuts infield into the penalty area, and his right-footed shot swings across the face of goal and behind for a goal kick.
Well, if you wanted to look at a DNA, if you like, for West Brom, that is exactly it. From goalkeeper straight to Gale from a kick out, counter-attack, great touch from the little fella. Controlled it well, came inside on his good foot, and he curls that just wide of the far post. They're so dangerous on the break, West Brom.
And it's a goal kick which Ben Annick, wearing all red, will take, defending the Bolton goal away to our left hand side. 0-0 so far at the University of Bolton Stadium, and the top and bottom of the tables I'll give you in a second, but West Brom are coming forward now. Harper wide to this near side, but it's slightly behind Gibbs, and it will run out of play for a throw into Bolton. Leeds on top, of course, despite their defeat at Stoke this weekend, with 54 points. Norwich 53. They won at home to Birmingham, live on TalkSport 2 on Friday night. Sheffield United have 50. West Brom 47. Borough 47. Derby 46. As Harper sprints forward now for West Brom down the centre into the feet of Gale, who intelligently lofts it wide into the open space for Holgate down the right hand side for West Brom. A chance to size up the cross, and he tricks his way beyond Taylor, low into the near post, volleyed away by Beavers, and it will bobble out of play for a throw in to West Bromwich Albion. Yeah, great counter attack again from West Brom. Worked the ball out to Holgate superbly well. What a great signing he is for them as well at this point of the season, and he manufactures it onto his good foot, and he puts a good ball into the near post, which is defended really well. And it's a throw-in for West Brom on the far side, and they have just looked to have more quality so far. The question is, can Bolton put the block on and maybe try and create something on the breakaway themselves? But it's counter-attacking, which has been West Brom's most potent weapon so far this season. Now Hegazi square towards Barry, and now a lovely turn from Harper again, and the teenager has been caught in the midfield area by Murphy, and it will be a free kick for West Brom. Yeah, it's good play again by West Brom. He started really brightly, to be fair. Harper, he's got a great turn of pace, set that last counter-attack off really well, left the midfield for dead, the Bolton midfield. This is a good position to put the ball in the box. And it's a free kick which Brunt is over, and he'll try and wrap his renowned left foot around this. Everybody is back behind the ball for Bolton Wanderers. And Brunt's free kick is scuffed towards the edge of the penalty area, but it's dug out well by Robson-Kanu. Now Harper tries to find the space for the shot. He was off balance and as a result miskicked, and it's cleared away by Hobbs. And now Gibbs will play it back towards Holgate, who was cleaned out there by Gary O'Neill. That was late and high from the veteran, and David Webb will have at least a word.
Yeah, it was a very late tackle. Just hesitated a little bit there, Holgate, with his clearance on his left foot. He's making the point of the fact that he got caught there to Donaldson. But he started really well, Nigel O'Neill, so far. Very experienced player, knows where the back of the net is. He's timed his runs really well. He's been busy and aggressive in midfield, closing people down. It's a good ploy by Phil Parkinson, playing him there as a 10.
Well, of course, he has so much experience. This is 9th club at the age of 35, and he's always kept himself very fit, Gary O'Neill, and he has had injury problems which in a strange way may end up prolonging his career because he's got fewer miles on the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he started this game superbly well tonight, and he's got the experience to break past Donaldson. You know, if Donaldson comes in short, he's breaking the lines and getting in beyond him.
And it's back with Ben Anik, and he will look to clear long downfield now, but as soon as he makes the move forward, he's quickly closed down by Rodriguez, and then Donaldson loses out in the air to Dawson, who's on familiar territory here tonight. Of course, started his career at Rochdale and ended up getting his move towards the Premier League from there, and the ball eventually bobbles out of play on the far side off Robson-Kanu, and it will be a throw-in for Bolton Wanderers. And Bolton in many ways need to make the game as bitty as they can, don't they?
Well, that passage of play there, Nigel, just epitomised it, because it was a hurried clearance from Johnston. It's a poor clearance, and they put the ball under pressure and work it really well there, Bolton.
Well, Gale and Rodriguez have scored 27 goals between them so far this season, but Bolton need to ensure the service doesn't get anywhere near them. But now they're looking to attack themselves with Noon on the far side, but the ball just skips away from him out of play, and it will be a throw-in for West Bromwich Albion. 12 minutes played, 0-0 so far in this game in the Sky Bet Championship. We have Checkatrade Trophy commentary tomorrow on TalkSport 2 Live. Sunderland against Manchester City under-21s. Then on Wednesday from 1 o'clock, it's the start of our live and exclusive coverage of the England tour of the West Indies, the first test in Bridgetown, Barbados, followed by Burton against Manchester City. The coverage starts at 7 as Clayton Donaldson looks to get goal side of Dawson inside the penalty area, and he's done well to bulldoze his way through. Now goes down and it's poked away by Dawson, but it's regathered on the far side by O'Neill. Swung into the penalty area by Noon, high to the far post. Lowe will challenge for it, but it's won well in the air. And now Kieran Gibbs, having won the header, will sprint forward and gather the ball from Brunt on this near side, the left, but his run was tracked all the way 75 yards by Lowe, and it's a throw-in in the end to Bolton.
Yeah, that initial opportunity there for Bolton. Clever bit of play by Luke Murphy. Controlled the ball, worked it out with his feet, and just left it in behind this West Bromwich Albion back four. And to be fair to Donaldson, he's after it and caused all sorts of problems.
13 minutes played, 0-0 as the ball just skips away from Gary O'Neill midway inside the West Brom half, and it will be an opportunity for Johnston to bowl the ball out once again, and it's all rather subdued and eerie inside the University of Bolton Stadium at the moment. Not a huge amount of atmosphere being generated by the home supporters, and the West Brom fans are some way away from the action in the top tier of the stand behind the goal away to our right. Here is Brunt coming forward now for West Bromwich Albion. A dart is made to the left-hand side by Rodriguez, and the pass will find him, but it just loops up off the left boot of Jay Rodriguez, and it's behind for a goal kick once again. And in this sort of atmosphere, it can be difficult for some players, because you've got to generate the momentum yourself, haven't you? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that West Brom, when they do get possession, they've kept the shape really well, Bolton. And what they've done is they've not committed themselves, and they've not come out of the shape, and they've forced the error. And what they've done is they've made West Brom play in front of them. And it's a clever ploy, because they're getting frustrated a little bit at the moment this time.
Well, West Brom were defeated on their return to the Championship by Bolton on the opening day of the season. Yannick Wildschut with a winner right at the end of that game, but he's one of a number of senior Bolton players out injured at the moment. And the last meeting here was Bolton's final game in the Premier League. It was a 2-2 draw. They were 2 goals up with 15 minutes to play, and they were basically safe, but then they collapsed here. Chris Brunt and James Morrison, still on the books at West Brom, scored 2 late goals. Queen's Park Rangers also scored an injury time winner at Loftus Road elsewhere, and Bolton ended up in the relegation zone and went down the following week. Here is Amiobi coming forward now, though, a weaving run from him, but the pass was wide to the right hand side and behind Donaldson. It's curled in by O'Neill, and arriving late inside the penalty area was Murphy. He can't get his head on it, but here is Noon now again, supported by Taylor down the left. Another deep cross into the penalty area. O'Neill was goal side of Gibbs, loops a header onto the roof of the netting, but I'm not too sure Darren Moore would be mightily impressed by the defending there.
No, he won't, and that's 3 times now that O'Neill's made good runs into the box from just in behind Donaldson up front. It's a great ball in again from Craig Noon. He's a good source for them out there on the left for Bolton. If they can get the ball out to him, get some quality in the box, then there's a chance O'Neill will get on the end of something.
15 minutes played, 0-0 so far on TalkSport 2 as Dawson slides in at full pelt to try and win the ball on the far side, and I think he caught Murphy, but the ball looped up into the crowd, and the referee happy to give a throw into Bolton. The bottom of the table at the moment, reading upwards, Ipswich 18, Bolton 22, Reading 23, outside the relegation zone, Rotherham 25, and then both Wigan and Millwall on 29 points. And Bolton's next home game here is against Reading, which even at this stage of the season will be considered a relegation 6-pointer. They have an FA Cup tie away to Bristol City coming up on Friday 1st. As Brunt works it wide to the far side, the left, and Dawson has to control a difficult bouncing ball on a playing surface which has variable colouring and variable bounce in various stages. It's particularly mottled on the far side as it's played forward by Holgate, and it's a good ball as well, and Robson Kanu is able to turn and bring Gibbs into the game down the left hand side. 3 wait for the cross. Gibbs goes back towards Brunt. Brunt delays and then has the opportunity to bring Robson Kanu into the game wide on this near side, the left. He tries to throw a couple of shapes to create the room for the cross, but in the end he has to try and come the long way round beyond Amiobi, back towards Brunt again, and then Robson Kanu is clipped by Lowe, and that's a very cheap free kick to give away for Bolton.
Yeah, silly by Lowe. He's got to stay on his feet there and not dive in, because this is a really good position for West Brom, particularly with people of the quality of Brunt with that left foot. Looks like he's lining up to put it in, but it's important to keep the discipline here, Bolton.
And it's Brunt who is over the free kick, and he can whip this ball in, an outswinger with the left foot. Nearly 18 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Bolton Wanderers 0, West Bromwich Albion 0 on the home of the EFL. And West Brom considerable favourites to win this game, but at the moment Bolton are proving to be a tough nut to crack. Brunt with the free kick, high to the far post, nodded back by Rodriguez, and it's headed over the line, and Bolton Wanderers are claiming the opening goal. Rodriguez with the final touch, and it was so simple in the end. Brunt with the free kick, nodded back, and Rodriguez almost on the goal line, had an empty net which he found with a good deal of comfort. Bolton 0, West Bromwich Albion 1.
Well, I think, Nigel, to be fair, it's all about the quality of the ball in from Brunt. It's a great ball in, and I think it's Al Ghazi at the far post, comes right round the back stick and just steers it across goal. It's a right header, to be fair to him, and he's reading it, Rodriguez. He's Johnny on the spot. He just gets the final touch on it, and it just deflated Bolton. Now you can sense it round the ground a little bit.
Jay Rodriguez with his 14th goal of the season. And West Brom, with their first effort on target, take the lead. And if you are a side who scores so few goals, you cannot afford to defend set pieces like that.
No, he's got to be under far more pressure than that, Al Ghazi, to head that ball across. I mean, he comes in at the far post, and it's a great quality ball in, but it's too easy for him to steer that ball across the goal, Nigel.
And here is Ghazi now. Clips it into the feet of Robson Kanu, who was given the room to turn, and Gale was off like an express train down the centre, but Robson Kanu didn't have his head up to see the opportunity. And now Murphy plays it forward. Olkowski on this near side, the right for Bolton, swings a low cross in, which is blocked by Gibbs, and it will be a throw-in to Bolton by the corner flag on this near side, their right. So if West Brom win this game, they'll go above Sheffield United into third place on 50 points, 3 points behind Norwich and a point behind Leeds. Here is Amiobi now, who cuts in field from the right hand side, tried to curl the ball left-footed, got right underneath it, and it's nearer the corner flag than the goal.
Yeah, a little bit of a waste there from Amiobi, because he's in a good position coming in on his left foot. If he can keep possession there and just work and fashion an opportunity, a better opportunity around the West Brom box, that would have been a better choice.
West Brom coming into this game with only 2 points out of the last 9, draws at home to Sheffield Wednesday and Norwich, and that defeat at Blackburn, their only loss in their last 11 games. And they're looking for only their 4th clean sheet of the season tonight, but they've ensured that they've scored in 24 of their opening 28 championship games already. And
I think that's the problem for Bolton, isn't it, Nigel? You know, you just know that West Brom's going to get one. It's whether Bolton's got enough going forward to score as well.
It's flicked on by O'Neill. Now Amiobi, a back heel to pick out Donaldson on the edge of the penalty area. O'Neill once again cuts it back, but it's headed away by Holgate at the far post. Olkowski once again has time to set himself for the cross, and it's high towards that far post, and Johnston does well to gather before noon.
Yeah, good goalkeeping, safe pair of hands, good timing, read the cross really well from Olkowski, but it's a good response from Bolton, and they haven't got their heads down. They've launched an attack, they've got themselves back in that West Brom half. They've just got to make sure that they concentrate from set plays.
And this is not a good venue for West Brom. Only one win in their last 13 visits, as Rodriguez gathers the ball. The Bolton crowd and a number of Bolton players believe he was offside on this near side, the left, and Rodriguez now with a high cross into the penalty area, which is nodded away by Taylor, and both Harper and Holgate converge on the ball. And now it's played back by Gale towards Barry, who swings it wide to the far side, and Bolton here at the moment just try to hang on in there with 22 minutes played and already a goal down.
Yeah, to be fair, there's a golfing quality, and you can see that.
Massive. But how do you change it?
Well, you can't. You just got to try and keep them at it and make sure they try and stay in the game, because at 1-0 they've got a chance to get something out of it. Not get disappointed when West Brom have got good possession, you know, and they've just got to keep their heads a little bit.
Throw in which Gibbs will take for West Brom on this near side. There's a problem first of all for Olkowski, who just has to regain his footing. And Gibbs, one of a number of players wearing gloves on a bitterly cold evening, throws it back towards Higazi. And now Dawson, and there is no pressure on the ball whatsoever from Bolton, and Dawson pings it wide to this near side, the left, beyond Gibbs, and it's out of play. And if you are the home team, surely there you've got to offer some sort of challenge.
You see, that's the thing that roused with the supporters as well, Nigel, because if there's no effort and no pressure on the ball, I mean, the two strikers, or O'Neill and Donaldson, might have been thinking that they were not diving in or not committing themselves, but sometimes you just got to go after it and lift the crowd a little bit and give them something.
West Brom have only been top of the table for 4 days in the early autumn, but they've always been around the top 6, as O'Neill brings it forward now for Bolton on this near side, the right. Bolton in their white shirts and dark blue shirts. O'Neill's cross into the penalty area, goes right through the 6-yard area, and it will be cleared away by Holgate at the far post. And the defending there wasn't convincing from West Bromwich Albion, but nobody gambled for Bolton.
No, he was cool as a cucumber there, Holgate, because I'm not sure he knew that he was behind him. And he just let that ball run across him. That cross, Craig Noon had been coming in at the back stick, it might have caused him a problem.
24 minutes played. West Brom lead here by a goal to nil, and Chris Brunt is down midway inside the West Brom half, so he'll receive some treatment. A couple of big games coming up at the end of the week on the TalkSport network. Over on TalkSport on Thursday night, Chelsea against Spurs, the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, with Spurs leading by a 1-0 heading to Stamford Bridge. And then on Friday, live and exclusive to National Radio, the FA Cup fourth round tie between Arsenal and Manchester United, only here at the start of another marathon weekend of FA Cup action coming up right across the TalkSport network, with commentaries on Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. And I'm not sure Chris Brunt will be able to carry on here.
No, and it'd be a bit of a blow for West Brom, because he started the game really well, put a fantastic ball in for the goal with his left foot, with his wonderful left foot, but he looks very sore at this moment in time, wobbling about.
Well, the physio was twirling his fingers to suggest they will have to make a change, and they are. And it's Sam Field who is coming on, one of the youngsters who's been on the periphery of the West Bromwich Albion first team. And there's applause there from Brunt as he acknowledges the West Brom supporters high up away to our right hand side, and this a change which Darren Moore would not have wanted to make at this stage.
No, and it's been forced as such, but you've got to deal with this sort of thing as a manager, and I think that gives the young boy an opportunity. I was interested to see how they will cope without Harvey Barnes, and to be fair, they've looked good. I think the shape of how I set Rodriguez on the right and Gale on the left, and playing off Robson Kanu. I like the look of Arter in midfield, got great quality and a turn of pace, very athletic, and I think Barry just shows everything up for him. You know, Brunt's gone off with a twist or a knock or whatever it is, but the three of them midfield were playing really well.
And Sam Field's last appearance was in the FA Cup third round against Wigan. Guy Clark, our producer, was at that game as a low ball is played into the penalty area, and it's whipped away by Taylor, and it was Field alongside Harper on that day as a mix and match West Brom team won by a 0-0. But now this is a more serious situation for West Brom as they look to ensure that they close the gap on the top two, as Donaldson looks to bring it forward on the far side, and eventually Holgate, under pressure, has to knock it out of play for a throw into Bolton.
Yeah, they've had one or two moments where they've got the ball down the side quite well, Bolton. Nothing convincing at this moment in time, but they seem to be getting a bit of joy just in behind both fullbacks.
And this only Sam Field's fifth appearance of the season in the Championship. And it's a difficult sort of night in which to come into, away from home, and I'm sure Darren Moore will learn a lot about a young player on a night like tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's confident in the boy. You know, he'll see whether he can swim or not. It's a big game for him to come into and play in, but he's got top quality players around him, to be fair, Nigel.
It's a throw-in for Bolton on the far side, 27 minutes played, and there are a number of stewards making their way into the Bolton supporters on the far side as Craig Noone tries to bring it forward just in front of those stewards, and Noone now tries to deliver a cross low into the penalty area. He finds Donaldson and it's laid back, but the shot was sliced and miskicked by Murphy, and it's high and wide.
It's a chance, it's a great chance.
And there is a good deal of trouble developing in the stand on the far side. That was the area of the ground which had the tennis balls before kick-off, and now stewards are fighting with supporters or trying to defend themselves. Certainly there are half a dozen orange-jacketed stewards who have gone into the Bolton supporters, and a couple of them have gone tumbling down the stairwells here as they clash with the Bolton supporters. Now around a dozen policemen are joining them for support, and these are very ugly scenes as the protests from the Bolton supporters outside the stadium beforehand have now come inside the stadium, and the stewards are being forced back by the Bolton fans on the far side as the game continues on the field. But even a number of players have been distracted by what's going on.
Yeah, it's not good, to be fair to him. I don't know what's happening. It looks like the protest has got really out of hand, and they're going to need the back of the police there, the stewards.
And the police are going in now because the stewards went in to try and sort something out. and they were very quickly forced back. A couple of banners have also been unfurled as well by the Bolton supporters as Rodriguez comes forward now. He finds Gale on the edge of the penalty area. All this going on while the game is continuing. Now the police are arriving in even greater numbers. They're coming out of the brake tunnel on the far side. There must be at least 25 police officers going into that area of the stadium as Noon brings it forward now for Bolton, and there is a very thick blue line entering that area of the stand as Olkowski comes forward for Bolton, and the shot is tipped over the crossbar. It was Amiobi in space, a rather languid effort, right-footed, but it was heading for the top corner until it was tipped over by Johnston.
Yeah, great save by Johnston, very instinctive. It's a great strike from Amiobi. It's a good break down the right-hand side for Bolton. Again, they seem to be getting a bit of joy down the both sides with Noon and a lot Oski, but need to try and capitalise now and try and get something back.
Noon with the cross, which is deflected at the near post off Gibbs, and it's gone behind for another corner. And ironically, as the trouble continues off the field, Bolton are having their best spell of the match on it.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to try and cash in on this now, to be fair to them. It's a good spell of pressure.
And it's another corner for Bolton on this near side, which is going to be taken by Craig Noon, and we know he has at times a delicious left foot, and this could cause problems for them. Noon, another in-swinger in towards that near post area. Hobbs was challenging. Higazi gets there first, not once but twice. Played back into the penalty area by O'Neill, and I think he was caught in two minds to either shoot or try and find Noon, and in the end the ball went straight between the pair of them.
Yeah, they've defended the corners quite well, to be fair, West Brom, particularly Al Ghazi at the back, very strong and dominant in the air. Good central figure for them.
Things appear to have calmed down on the far side. There are police now in the stairwells in that area of the stadium, which is by far the most heavily populated area of the ground here tonight. Here is Gibbs for Bolton, for West Brom rather, finding Field down the line for Robson Kanu. 31 minutes played. West Brom still lead by a goal to nil. Looking for a second here, but the cross in from Robson Kanu is cleared, and then Donaldson does well to wrestle his way beyond Higazi. He was caught, but the referee happy for play to continue as Murphy brings it forward now. New was the outlet on the far side, the left, but it's back towards Taylor. And here is Noon again, but it's a good challenge from Holgate to win it back. He very delicately plays it down the line, and it's out of play off a Bolton deflection for a throw-in.
Yeah, just going back to the disturbance earlier on, Nigel, it was like they were almost at odds with the stewards, the support. I don't know if something was said, but it was the stewards that were getting buffeted about. But it seems like the police have brought a bit of calm to it now. And
in fairness, that is by far the most noisy area of a very quiet stadium, but the chanting is not really in support of the team. It's against the owner, Ken Anderson, as Field scoops a high ball into the penalty area, taken down well at the far post on the left hand side by Gale. He plays the 1-2 with Field, back towards Gale again, and Field has taken up the position vacated by Brunt down the left hand side. 12 minutes to play in the first half on TalkSport 2. West Brom lead by a goal to nil on the night of protests outside the stadium, and so far disturbances inside as well. Here is Barry down the line looking for Gibbs, and Gibbs didn't really have an option, so tried to play it further down the line, gave the ball away. It's won back by a combination of Amiobi and O'Neill, and Amiobi now using his rangy physique to take the ball across the field from right to left. Here is Taylor now, supported by Murphy. Murphy with the low ball up towards the edge of the penalty area. Noon will try and turn beyond Dawson, and he's held up, but he does deliver the cross in. O'Neill tries to nod it down, but he's beaten to it in the air by Gibbs. Then two West Brom players, Field and Gale, collide, and Olkowski will bring it forward now down the Bolton right. The cross in hits Gibbs in the face and goes behind for another corner.
He's done well down this side, Olkowski, a couple of times, broke and overlapped, and he's got good ball in. He's forced a corner now, but it's a lot better from Bolton. They're making it difficult for West Brom. They're not giving them time to play. They're putting them under pressure, forcing the error. It's a corner now for Bolton in a good position,
and they will be happy with the response since going behind. Lee Butler, the goalkeeping coach, joining Phil Parkinson inside the technical area beneath us. Darren Moore stood right out on the edge of the pitch at the moment, and there will be a delay. It's Gary O'Neill who is injured. He was caught in the midfield area a couple of minutes ago, but the referee allowed play to continue. But now he will need some treatment, and a couple of members of Bolton's medical staff come out to deal with him, and things do seem to have quietened down on the far side, but that's been helped by the presence of around 25 police officers, and the stewards have now vacated that area completely.
Yeah, to be fair, the police acted really quickly, reacted to it, and it has calmed down now. Just going back to the injury to O'Neill, that they won't want to lose him, Bolton, because he started the game quite well, and he looks a threat for them from midfield. Balls that are coming in the box, he's arrived there 2 or 3 times, nearly got on the end of him, and they'll want to try and keep him on the pitch, I'm sure.
O'Neill trying to get to his feet at the moment, and we spoke earlier on, Neil, about the big games coming up. Of course, Reading here is a massive game for Bolton Wanderers in their next league game, and at the top you've got Norwich against Sheffield United this weekend. It doesn't get much bigger than that, does it?
No, exactly, and what it is, the sides that are around about them at both ends of the table, obviously both sides can't win, so it's important that the sides that are at the bottom start picking results up.
The corner from Noon in towards the near post, swept away on the volley by Field, and the police are now vacating that area of the stadium away to our right hand side now, so peace does appear to have been completely restored. Here is Donaldson now, 9 minutes to play in the first half. 1-0 to West Brom on TalkSport 2, and Donaldson's done really well to entice Dawson towards the ball, play it off him, and it's another corner, and Bolton dominating the corner count here.
Yeah, I think he's led the line well, Donaldson. I think he's put him under pressure. It's quite a lively pitch now. It's bare of grass really, and the ball bouncing really high, and he's judged it superbly well. He's caused Al Ghazi some problems, Donaldson.
And the corner from Noon, an outswinger, and it's met comprehensively by the goal scorer Jay Rodriguez, and his header gets good distance up towards the halfway line. It's now returned by Taylor, and then nodded clear again by Dawson, wide to the far side, the Bolton left, and Taylor will leave it for Noon this time. Has support from O'Neill, but the very mobile Raheem Harper comes in to win it back, and it's an intelligent ball from him across the field to pick out Kieran Gibbs on this near side. Both of the fullbacks trying to get forward, and Gibbs almost sells Ghazi short with a ball back to him as O'Neill closed him down, but the Egyptian does well to nudge it forward. But then there's another nudge in the back, this time Dawson on Donaldson, and it's a free kick to Bolton just inside the West Brom half.
Yeah, just watching Darren Moore. He's not happy with Gibbs. That's 2 or 3 times now he's been a little bit sloppy from that left back position with the quality of his ball going forward, and Darren Moore just telling him so.
And West Brom have not built on the opening goal at all here. Bolton have been the better side overall since then, and we have 7.5 minutes to play in the first half. The free kick into the penalty area is nodded down, but now Harper is able to clear, and it's a long ball over the top. Dwight Gale maybe thought about allowing it to run, but now he controls, and he's caught by Olkowski, and it will be a free kick to West Brom, 25 yards from goal, and it's the first yellow card for Pavel Olkowski.
Yeah, great play by Gale. Fantastic touch, turn away from Olkowski, and to be fair to Olkowski, he chases him down and tries to put him under pressure, but he's always in at the back, and he's always going to give the foul away, and I think Gale knows that, gets his body in the way, forces the foul, forces the error.
And it's a free kick which Gale is over. It's a good 25 yards out. Hegazi has maybe expressed an interest as well. But Gale fancies this.
Well, if he scores from here, he wants his cards on with.
Well, there are 3 players, now 4 players in the Bolton wall, so clearly they're not convinced he could hit the target from here, but it's Gale who does strike it right-footed, and it wasn't too far away, and Anik got a touch on that, did he? No, a goal kick's been given, but there was great dip and bend on that from Dwight Gale, and Anik was scrambling.
Fantastic strike. I tell you what, he wasn't sure, Anwick. scrambling across his goal. Nearly eating my words there, Nige.
Well, it was a lot. Well, Bolton clearly weren't convinced because the wall was very ragged, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very long way out. Good technician though, Gale, to be fair to him.
The cheer you can hear is because the Bolton fans in the lower tier of the stand on the far side have been trying to throw a banner up to the top tier, and now it's been caught by the supporters, so the Anderson out banner has been unfurled by the fans in the top tier of the stand on the far side now, as another West Brom player has gone down in a first half which has been punctuated by stoppages right from the start.
Yeah, I think the surface, I mean, it looks great from here, but I mean, I think it's quite lively, to be fair. I think it's getting to the part of the season now where it's wearing out.
And it's a fairly exposed area of the country up here, isn't it? I mean, this stadium, it's a great stadium, but you are on the edge of the Pennines as the rain starts to sweep in now from that corner of the ground, and you have to wonder as well, a club, you know, shorn of money, maybe things like this, quality of the pitch is one thing they look at. Well,
maybe so, yeah, but I think what it's done is it's sort of levelled the game up a little bit. It's caused West Brom a little bit of a problem. There's things, you know, clearances from the back and from the goalkeepers that are bouncing really high because the pitch is dried out and it's uneven, and it's putting the West Brom defenders under pressure. But I think they could play on that a little bit more. I think Donaldson's superbly, he's done it really well. He's caught El Ghazi 2 or 3 times when he's been trying to judge the bounce of the ball and got underneath it and misjudged it. But he's a factor in this game.
Well, the West Brom player is still receiving some treatment on the far side. I think it was Mason Holgate who got clouted. And the Bolton fans on the far side more preoccupied at the moment in throwing their banners up to supporters in the top tier so they get a better view, or the banners get more of a viewing on the television. But a steward has now gone across to those supporters who have the banner on the far side and maybe has then thought better of it and walked away.
Well, yeah,
it's a very difficult atmosphere for the Bolton players, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because I mean, really, for the vast majority of the supporters that are looking in, the Bolton supporters, they've got one eye on that, on what's happening in the corner with the, you know, with the banners and the support and the police, and it's almost like the football's a sideshow for them. It's been a good game actually under difficult conditions because the pitch is lively.
And I empathise completely with why the Bolton supporters are protesting, because of the financial management of the club, and you know, we can see what's happened. You know, the threats of a strike, the threats of administration, the threats of winding up orders. It's not a good situation. But if a potential owner is watching this game or listening to this game tonight, maybe they'll think again. Yeah,
that's right. And the other thing as well is, I mean, we've turned up tonight. I mean, this has obviously been ongoing now all season.
Yeah.
You know, and we're here on a night when it's come to a head. You know, and they are making the voices heard, to be fair.
Here is Holgate coming forward now. It's another good run back towards Harper, square to field. 3 youngsters prominent in the West Bromwich Albion team now as we head towards half time. 2.5 minutes to play. 1-0 they lead, but Bolton have caused them more than 1 or 2 problems as the ball is headed away by Taylor on the far side, and it will be a throw-in to West Bromwich Albion as the rain starts to get heavier here, and there's a Bolton player changing his shirt on this near side, and it's Holgate, I think, who now has his head swathed in bandages.
Yeah, I think he just got caught with a stray elbow there, Holgate, in that tackle. He's definitely got it bandaged up.
Now a high cross into the penalty area from the far side. It's cleared away, returned quickly by Gibbs. Rodriguez does well to win the ball. Then he has a shot which is deflected behind. And in fact it's Robson Kanu, the player, who had his head bandaged, as the shot goes behind for a corner. The West Bromwich Albion numbers aren't the easiest to read from this sort of range, but it's Robson Kanu who received that head injury, and now he comes back on with his head heavily bandaged, and it will be a corner for West Brom on this near side, their left. 90 seconds to play in the first half, plus a decent portion of added time. Bolton 0, West Brom 1. Field with the corner. A left-footed outswinger, high to the far post. Rising was Dawson, but he couldn't get clean connection, and it's headed away by Hobbs, and it will be a throw into West Brom on the far side. And Bolton here need to stand firm, because a second goal before half-time and it's probably game over.
Well, it is, and what it does is it just lets West Brom relax that even more, and they don't want that because they're passing the ball about well as it is.
Well, West Brom have not lost in any of the 12 games in which they've scored first so far this season, and Bolton haven't come from behind to win in their last 45 games in which they've conceded first. So at the moment West Brom look the likely winners, but now there's a confrontation on the field. Clayton Donaldson squaring up to one of the West Bromwich Albion players, and that's the cue for those from both sides to get involved. It was Holgate who took exception to something which Donaldson did, and now the referee David Webb has to sort this out.
Yeah, a little bit of retaliation there. I think Holgate left a bit on Donaldson earlier on when he dumped him onto the touchline side off the pitch, and then as the ball got cleared and it bounced up and Holgate stood underneath it, I think Donaldson used the fact that he could jump for the ball and just leave a little bit on Holgate, and Holgate took umbrance to it.
There'll be 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half as the rain teems down here now at the University of Bolton Stadium, and Mason Holgate, with his lime green boots, gets a yellow card, and it will be, though, a free kick for West Bromwich Albion. And the game has just rather unravelled in the last couple of moments as Hegazi from the free kick turns away from O'Neill, plays it forward towards Rodriguez, and now Harper finding Holgate once again into the body of Robson Kanu, who is quickly challenged and loses out, and Bolton will try and break on the far side, but again Gareth Barry just tidies up, as he's done so for much of the game so far. But Hegazi's ball to this near side forces Field to stretch, and as a result it bobbles straight out of play for a throw-in to West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, just going back to Gareth Barry, it's just his timing and his reading of play, superb there. Just cut the passing line off into Donaldson, nipped in and pinched it, and reverse pass inside to Hegazi. It's great play.
Now Donaldson has been fouled by Hegazi, just being held down midway inside the West Bromwich Albion half, and it will be a free kick for Bolton. And what a lift it would give them if they can find an equaliser here in added time right at the end of the first half. O'Neill is over the free kick. Hobbs has moved forward along with Beavers, and it's played in by O'Neill, high to the far post. Rising was Hobbs, but it's headed away, but now it's quickly won back by Murphy, and Murphy just knocks the ball off Harper, and it will be a throw-in for West Bromwich, for Bolton Wanderers on the far side. And we played nearly 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half here. Taylor will take it into the feet of O'Neill, back towards Taylor again, jab down the line for Noon, and Rodriguez goes down, claims he was fouled by Noon. Didn't look to be too much in it, but the referee, well placed, has given the free kick.
Yeah, it's good tracking back by Rodriguez, to be fair. It's been a threat this afternoon. He's got great quality with that left foot, but we always knew his quality from his days at Cardiff. He hasn't disappointed on that left hand side, but it's good diligent work from Rodriguez, to be fair.
Sam Johnston will take the free kick, and we have 90 seconds of added time to play at the end of the first half. West Brom leading 1-0, but it's not looked a convincing lead the longer the first half has gone on. But now a silky turn from Rodriguez, and he almost played in gale. It's won back by Field, but it ricochets kindly for Bolton as Murphy finds Taylor quickly down the line for Donaldson, who has drawn Dawson out of the centre to make the challenge once again, and eventually it's Gareth Barry who does so, and it will be a throw-in for Bolton, who may just have time to take this throw-in at the end of the first half. And there aren't too many options for Taylor, but he finds Murphy, and his lofted ball into the penalty area is headed away unchallenged by Dawson, now nodded down the line by Harper, and hooked further clear by Rodriguez, and Robson Kanu will chase, and it's headed clear on the far side by Beavers for a throw into West Brom. And I'm sure Darren Moore, who stands underneath his hood on the edge of the technical area, will have a few words at half time, because they are leading, but it's not a convincing lead, is it now?
No, it's not, and they've been dragged into a scrap as such, if you like. It's been a scrappy game at times, and it's suited Bolton to that end for the last 20-25 minutes of this first half. Started the game really well, West Brom, much the better passing side. I mean, the one thing he will be pleased about is the clean sheet.
Well, that is half-time, and it's a clean sheet so far for West Bromwich Albion, leading Bolton Wanderers here by a goal to nil. Jay Rodriguez with the only goal so far, nodding in from almost on the goal line after 19 minutes, after Chris Brunt's free kick had been nodded back across goal by Ahmed Hagazi. It's been a first half notable for protests off the field in many ways, but West Brom, as things stand, are closing the gap on the top two. Half time, Bolton Wanderers 0, West Bromwich Albion 1. And West Brom, the first side out, and we can see how Robson-Kanu still carrying the effects of that head injury in the first half. His head is heavily bandaged as Bolton make their way out for the second half. There don't look to be any changes to their side, so it's Anik in goal, Olkowski, Hobbs, Beavers and Taylor, Murphy, Lowe, Noon, Amiobi, O'Neill in midfield, with Donaldson up front. For West Bromwich Albion, it is now Johnston in goal, Holgate, Dawson, Hagazi and Gibbs, Harper, Barry and Field replacing Brunt, with Rodriguez, Robson-Kanu and Gale in attack. And Bolton Wanderers in their white shirts and blue shorts will be attacking the goal away to our left in the second half, the north stand at the University of Bolton Stadium. West Bromwich Albion in their yellow and green stripes, green shorts and green socks, and the weather here is now absolutely foul. It is freezing and the rain is blowing into the faces of the West Bromwich Albion players in the second half. It is coming in at an angle of around 45 degrees from right to left, straight in off the West Pennines. As Bolton look to build at the start of the second half, and the ball ricochets off the challenge of Holgate, and it will be a throw-in for Bolton Wanderers. And they did well in the latter stages of the first half, having conceded the first goal. As the disturbances continued off the field, Bolton Wanderers became more of a threat on it, and Taylor's cross here spins away off a West Bromwich Albion boot and behind for a corner.
Yeah, again, it's this left-hand side for Bolton that's where the most productive. And I think if they can capitalise on a set play here, it could be in a game here, West Brom.
An out-swinging corner from Noon, high towards the far post, headed back into the penalty area. Lowe's volley is brilliantly saved by Sam Johnston. It was nodded down to Lowe, and he really could hold of that right-footed. It was arrowing towards the top right-hand corner, but Johnston pulled out a tremendous save.
Well, he couldn't have struck it any sweeter, Lowe, to be fair to him, and it's a world-class save from Johnson. But it was all about keeping the ball alive in the box there for Bolton.
Corner now on the far side for Noon. An in-swinger this time, flicked on by Donaldson. It's gathered by Murphy on the edge of the penalty area, but Robson-Kanu will nip into clear. And now there is a potential break on for West Brom at the other end, with 18-year-old Raheem Harper, a good ball down the line, looking for support, which came from Holgate. It's then cleared up in the air by Taylor and eventually headed clear by Hobbs towards this near side. Flicked on by Amiobi, and he did really well to flick the ball back into his path, but in many ways that's a microcosm of Sammy Amiobi's career. Something outstanding, quickly followed by something not so outstanding.
No, I mean, to be fair, it's a fantastic little bit of skill to fetch that ball out of the air and then play it in front of himself, but he just had a heavy touch there which forced the ball out of play for a West Brom throw-in. Just going back to Harter, he's really impressed me in midfield. Great energy and composure, good touch, good passer, drives forward with the ball well. It's a good plus for West Brom in there.
And he was on loan at Blackburn last season, so he got experience of playing in League One as they quickly returned to the Championship. And in a West Bromwich Albion team which has seen a number of faces in midfield so far this season, you could see him being somebody who could be a very useful addition the longer the season goes on, because well, every game's a big game if you're third in the table, but he doesn't seem fazed by it.
Well, no, and we were talking right at the top of the show about what West Brom might need, in the transfer window. We talked about maybe legs in midfield, and that is exactly what he gives them. He gives them that dynamic to get from box to box.
Headed forward now by Gibbs with the short sleeves and gloves combination on the far side. Now Olkowski, who had his shirt pulled as he looked to evade the challenge of Field, but he's done well to play it down the line, and now Bolton have the opportunity to break into the penalty area. The cross high to the far post, looking for Noon, but it was nodded away by Holgate, and in the end the ball actually strikes the corner flag as Harper tried to keep it in play, and it's gone behind for another Bolton corner.
Yeah, it's good defending in the end by Holgate, because he gets himself in a terrible defensive position there.
Corner's played short to O'Neill, who was able to turn and fire the ball in right-footed across the penalty area, but it was high and wide, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, he just lacked a little bit of quality. He hurried that, O'Neill, which is a bit strange for an experienced player. Had a little bit longer than what he thought on the ball there. It's a great timing of his run, and picks the ball up on the angle in the box. Turns out on his good right foot and just overhits that ball. It just needed feeling in front of the goalkeeper to cause him the problem.
4 minutes played in the second half on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. Bolton 0, West Brom 1. If it stays like this, West Brom will be up to third in the table, 3 points behind Norwich in second, and Bolton will remain one off the bottom, 3 points away from safety before a huge game coming up here next Tuesday against Reading, the one side above them. The crowd here tonight, 14,750, with 858 supporters who have made the trip from the Black Country to watch West Bromwich Albion. And that's above the average for Bolton so far this season. As West Brom now look to break with Barry, infield again towards Harper, the 37-year-old finding the 18-year-old. Holgate now plays the ball infield once again. He had support from Barry, but he goes further back to Hagazi, and now it's Gibbs on the far side, and Bolton here with much more of a press and much more urgency than we saw in the early moments of the game. But Barry plays a good ball wide to this near side, the right, and Holgate quickly into the penalty area. Harper was trying to gather, but he breaks kindly for Robson Kanu. Robson Kanu, though, can't get the shot in, and Lowe does well to play it back towards Anik, who clears up towards the halfway line, where it's fielded out of play by Darren Moore.
Yeah, again it's Harper breaking from midfield that causes the problem. Breaks beyond the Bolton midfield, runs off the back of Luke Murphy. He's got to track him, got to pick him up. Causes problems for the Bolton back four.
And the rain continues to lash down here. Throw-in quickly taken by number 68, Mason Holgate. Clipped into the penalty area by Robson Kanu, but he can't find Gale. It's cleared as far as Barry, who heads it forward. But now it's gathered on the far side by Olkowski, and Bolton will try and play it clear again, but every time they do so, there are a number of West Bromwich Albion players plugging all of the gaps, so as a result they have to go longer. And it's Olkowski now finding Donaldson with his back to goal. It's gathered by O'Neill out on the right hand side, and after the off-field fireworks in the latter stages of the first half, the atmosphere is rather flat inside the University of Bolton Stadium again, as Hagazi will just shepherd the ball behind on the far side, and it will be a goal kick for West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, it's just that final thing that Bolton are doing that's not coming off, whether it's a ball down the side for the strikers, or whether it's a cross, or whether it's trying to link play into the front. The quality is just not quite there at this moment in time.
Cleared downfield by Sam Johnston once again, who this time last year was on loan at Aston Villa from Manchester United, but he opted to make the move across the Midlands on a permanent basis during the summer. And Ben Anik at the other end, somebody who is what you could unkindly call a journeyman, I suppose. This his 13th club, but he's given good service to a number of teams up and down the EFL. Gale on the far side, able to control and turn, plays it back towards field, but the ball down the line was straight out of play, and it will be a throw into Bolton Wanderers. 8 minutes played in the second half. West Brom lead 1-0, but since that goal on 19 minutes. I don't think Benanix had anything to do.
Well, yeah, and it's a dangerous precedent for West Brom to set, to be honest with you, because if they get too comfortable in this game, and they settle in for a 1-0, then you can catch a cold really easily.
It's cleared away on the far side by Johnston, but straight out of play, despite the efforts of Gibbs, and it will be a throw-in for Bolton Wanderers, but it's controlled heavily by Donaldson, and Field will try and bring it clear, but he's closed down by Olkowski, and it will be a throw-in for West Bromwich Albion once again. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Checkatrade Trophy commentary on TalkSport 2. Sunderland against Manchester City under-21s with Dance and the team. On Wednesday at 1 p.m, our coverage live and exclusive from the West Indies of the first test at Bridgetown, Barbados. And coverage will switch to TalkSport at 7 o'clock, as we'll be bringing you Burton against Manchester City here. Can you make a case for Burton? No. Didn't think you could.
No.
Then on Thursday, Chelsea against Spurs over on TalkSport, with Arsenal against Manchester United, live and exclusive to national radio on TalkSport from the FA Cup 4th round on Friday evening. Lovely footwork on this near side from Mason Holgate. A couple of drag backs and a couple of rolls, and he was too smart for Craig Noone in the end, and despite the protests of Phil Parkinson, West Brom had the free kick, and that was showboating of the highest order.
Yeah, I think he had to pay to get back in second time there, Craig Noone. It was a proper dummy, but they've got good quality, West Brom, and they are comfortable in possession.
Agassi's ball now finds Gale, and it's played down the line far side looking for Rodriguez, but Jack Hobbs just gets a boot in and ensures the ball will drift over the byline, and it will be West Brom's first corner of the second half.
Yeah, every now and again there's like a lull of the game, but then they spring to life, West Brom, and they've got this pace, this dynamic to get in behind, and they just look really threatening.
Field will take the corner on the far side, driven low. Agassi with the shot, left-footed, and it's over the top, but it was the right sort of idea, straight off the training ground and almost into the Bolton net.
Yeah, the big fella Al-Ghazi is a real threat from set plays. It's a fantastic header for Rodriguez's goal when he steered it back across goal. I've been impressed with Field since he's come on. I mean, the man that stood out for me in that midfield is Gareth Barry. He's pulled and pushed them two youngsters about. Young Harper, who's done fantastically well as well, and Field, it bodes well for West Brom that these youngsters are playing so well.
Well, we saw Barry on TalkSport 2 at Bramwell Lane before Christmas score a goal and then run the game as West Brom came from behind to beat Sheffield United in a big game at the top of the table. And it's just that calmness he brings, and people say he's got no pace, but he never really had any pace, but it's all up there, isn't it?
Yeah, he's that clever. He never has to break sweat, really. I mean, he's filled that space in front of the back four, and he's linked play up really well. He's stopped the ball going in at the front. He's such a clever player.
Bolton have won a throw-in down this near side. 11 minutes played in the second half on TalkSport 2, and they trail by a goal to nil. A side with only 8 home goals so far this season in 13 games, but now Noone is flagged offside as he came back from an offside position, and it will be a free kick for West Bromwich Albion. And you look at the bench for Bolton Wanderers, they do have Josh McGuinness, probably their main attacking threat to bring on, but he's not scored a league goal since September, and Clayton Donaldson has not scored a league goal at all in his 17 games for Bolton Wanderers so far, but he's been a presence tonight, and he's created problems, but there's not been enough around him.
No, there hasn't. I think he's held the ball up quite well, to be fair to him, and his movement's been good. But like you say, I mean, he seems to have spent all his time running down the channels and holding the ball up. He's sort of diluting himself a little bit for the real stuff, putting the ball in the back of the net.
Well, he's wide on the right-hand side now, and West Brom will be grateful he's not somebody who is maybe just playing the width of the penalty area and just saying, just give me the ball and I'll do something with it. Bazanik controls a back pass and now clears downfield. It's gathered by Taylor. Taylor, though, is challenged, and Robson Kanu with the headband does well to win it back, and he's away now down the right hand side for West Brom. The opportunity to cross high to the far post, headed away by Hobbs, controlled by Field on the edge of the area, but it's volley clear eventually by Murphy up towards the halfway line. Now Hegazi Picks out Gibbs down the left. His ball forward though doesn't find field, but Rodriguez then backheels the ball across the midfield looking for Gale, but Bolton will eventually clear. And here is Donaldson again, very deep, winning the ball back. Noon was fouled there, and the referee maybe had a thought about giving the advantage, but instead has given the free kick to Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah, I think the advantage had gone, to be fair to the referee. He's done well tonight, the referee. He's not got much wrong at all. But you just can't help but thinking, Nigel, at 1-0, I mean, they've been the better side, West Brom. The door's still open for Bolton.
It's been a tenuous lead, and now the referee is just going to have a word with Kieran Gibbs. Some way off the ball. He clashed there with Craig Noon and Sammy Amiobi, and David Webb will just try and lay down the law before Bolton take this free kick.
Yeah, it's almost like he just stuck his leg out and tripped him as he made his run. I think he was trying to break down the side of the wall. They're quite narrow at the back to defend this free kick, West Brom.
Olkowski is over it. Everybody by Robson Kanu is back defending for West Brom here. Nearly an hour played. They still lead 1-0 in what's been a rather turgid second half so far. Olkowski's free kick is helped on by Donaldson, but then headed away by Field on the edge of the penalty area. Rodriguez looked to play the early ball over the top, looking for Robson Kanu. Here is Rodriguez again, and it's a clever ball wide to this near side. Holgate is there to gather. Further down the line looking for Harper, but as soon as he played it, Harper's body language told us that the ball was overhit, but it actually hits the corner flag again, and this time spins in West Brom's favour, out for a throw into Bolton rather than a goal kick.
Well, if that was a rugby field kick, it'd be a great placement, wouldn't it? It's right in the corner, right by the corner flag. It's a difficult position for Bolton to get out of. And if you look at all the yellow West Brom shirts, they're flooding that area to try and win it back.
And as the pitch becomes more and more slippery, it was lively in the first half and too dry. Now it does have a very slick top as Donaldson comes forward now for Bolton into the penalty area, isolating Hegazi, but the Egyptian does well to read its intention, slide in and concede the corner.
That's experienced defending at its best. Hegazi stayed on his feet, didn't fall for the dummies and the shimmies, and then won the ball cleanly. 1v1 there at the back.
And West Brom will often take a chance in a game, but it didn't cost them there. The corner will be taken on this near side by Noon. It's an outswinger once again, deep into the penalty area. Hobbs tries to flick it towards goal, but it's headed away by Dawson. And now Robson Kanu loses out in the challenge to Murphy. Early cross into the penalty area, headed away by Field towards this near side. Noon once again. It's a deep cross right through the 6-yard area. Amiobi tries to jab it back across the face of goal, but the angle was too tight. It's gone behind for a goal kick, but it's another moment of encouragement for Bolton.
I tell you what, that's a fantastic ball in by Craig Noon. What a superb ball. Just feels it just in behind this West Brom back four, and there's 4 white shirts piling in on it. You just got to throw themselves, I think, there, Nigel, just to get something. Any little touch there goes in the back of the net because they're that close to the goal. Great quality from Noon.
Well, Bolton have only spent 3 days outside the relegation zone since early November, but they are showing here that they could get back into this game and try and improve on a pretty pitiful home record of 3 wins, 3 draws and 7 defeats. And they've given up points to a number of teams around them as well, as Hobbs goes all the way back towards Anik, who then clears downfield, right-footed once again. It's over the head of Donaldson and Amiobi, headed away by El Ghazi. And Bolton go longer into the feet of O'Neill on the edge of the halfway line, and Bolton, in their haste to try and get the ball forward, rather make a mess of it, and in the end have to go back to Anik again. A big right foot from him, and it's headed back in field, and Gary O'Neill has done well to keep the ball back in play. Amiobi picks out Olkowski, who can charge forward now on the overlap. Nobody waiting inside the penalty area though. The cross is deflected. Field will ensure it doesn't go behind for a corner, and Olkowski looked up there and there was nobody to hit.
I tell you what though, the bigger picture is here. They've lost the plot a little bit here, West Brom. They've took the foot off the pedal here, and they're the better side here, Bolton. They're not careful here, they're going to drop points when they've been in a good position.
Here is O'Neill, plays it back again towards Hobbs. Amiobi sidesteps one challenge, finds O'Neill. It's a good ball to find Olkowski wide on the right hand side. He's quickly challenged by Gale, but it's back to Lowe. The cross in is headed on by Donaldson. Noon at the far post went for the big swing on the volley, but it was blocked eventually on this near side by Holgate. But it's a throw into Bolton, and as you can hear, the home crowd right behind their team at the moment. Thrown in by Taylor, controlled by Amiobi on the edge of the penalty area. Taylor again now. Noon will find his fullback once again, and here is Murphy. Amiobi though loses out to Barry, and Bolton here are forced all the way back towards the halfway line, and the last man Hobbs will find Lowe, who spins it wide to the far side. Olkowski hooks it down the line, looking for Donaldson, who tangles with Higazi. The home crowd want the free kick, nothing given though, and West Brom will try and clear, but you're right, Neil, West Brom are doing absolutely nothing creative here in the game at all. Well,
it's almost as if they're contributing to their own downfall as well. They're having too many touches. They've lost the shape a little bit. They look a little bit ragged. They look too casual in possession. They think they can just turn out and it's going to happen. It doesn't happen like that, football. They need to get back on it, West Brom.
And it's a good ball from Luke Murphy wide to this near side, but Taylor just takes his eye off the ball at the crucial moment. It evades his grasp, and it will be a throw into West Brom on this near side. 64 minutes played on Talk Sport 2. Bolton Wanderers 0, West Bromwich Albion 1. It has not been a feast of football so far, but it's a very important game to both teams. Holgate with the throw-in. Barry takes it, spins away from O'Neill, and Noon using the ball well again, and it's Higazi charging forward over the halfway line, tries to play reverse ball forward to change the point of the attack and pick out Robson Kanu on the edge of the penalty area, but Bolton will clear, and here is Dawson once again. Harper with a lovely spin and turn to find Barry. He's got support from Field, and it's wide to the far side again, and Gibbs, and West Bromwich Albion just looking to recover their poise here as they seek the second goal. Gibbs inside the penalty area, can't fasten onto a ball forward from Barry, and now Murphy will try and bring it clear, but Holgate was athletic enough to win it back, but now Barry has given the ball away. Here is Amiobi finding the run of Noon down the left hand side. Too wait for the cross, but Noon waited far too long, and it was Barry who had the opportunity to redeem his error with the challenge, and Rodriguez will bring it clear.
Yeah, he's got to come in the box on it. That's probably the first bad bit of play from Noon. He's been fantastic today on this left hand side. He's put some real quality in, and all he had to do was get that ball whipped across the box, because there's 4 or 5 white shirts piling in on that.
Field wide to the far side, the left for West Brom, and Gibbs. 66 minutes played. West Brom lead 1-0. And those of us in the press box were maybe thinking they would be out of sight by now in the game, but on the night of heavy weather they are really labouring. Here is Field again, wide towards Higazi, and Higazi's ball doesn't find Gibbs, straight out of play.
You see, and that's what happens, Nigel, because they've took the foot off the pedal, and then they become a little bit casual, and then balls start going out of play from passes and that, and it's difficult to wrestle back now. You know, from Bolton's point of view, they need to try and capitalise on this.
Cleared downfield by Anik once again. Amiobi does well to control, now tries to spin, but Gibbs stuck with him, heads it back in field, finds Barry, but as Neil was saying, West Brom trying to be too deliberate in the midfield area, but now they have worked the opening, and here is Gale coming away down the left hand side. He can cut in field and take on Hobbs. It's low across the penalty area. Robson Kanu was the target, but Taylor got there first, and he lunges in to concede the corner.
Yeah, it's good defending by Taylor, and it needed to be fair, because it's a great ball in. It's last ditch, but there's always that threat from West Brom on the counter. We know they've got that quality, and any chink in Bolton's armour, and this West Brom side are in.
Corner on the far side, drifted in by Field. Dawson rising, so too though is Beavers, and here is Barry on this near side, who was just allowing the ball to drift out of play. Believes he was caught by Murphy, but the free kick, or rather the throw-in, has been given to West Bromwich Albion, and there is going to be a double change made here by Bolton. Will Buckley and Josh McGuinness are the players who are coming on. Luke Murphy is the first player to be withdrawn, so Buckley will be more of an orthodox wide player. Murphy has been trying to fill in central midfield. Buckley has 3 goals so far this season, and it's Clayton Donaldson who makes way for Josh McGuinness.
Yeah, the Donaldson one's a straight swap with McGuinness. Surprised with the Murphy one. I think Murphy's done quite well in midfield with Lowe, because they're strong in there, West Brom, and they've not given much ground away.
And McGuinness scored a hat-trick here in the most recent home game, a 5-2 win against Walsall in the FA Cup. Has 4 league goals, but none since September, but he's fighting for the ball now. Hegazi flips it wide to this near side and finds Dawson. Here is Barry now, down the line to pick out Holgate. Infield now from Robson Kanu. And Harper's ball was errant wide to the far side, but Field is able to gather. And West Brom, you feel, do have the vision if they can just pick those passes. Bolton are wide open at times, but it's head down and running at the moment. That's what Harper is doing now, but he has found Rodriguez. Coming short again is Holgate, but Harper did well to ride the challenge on this near side, and Taylor, in fact it's Noon who has stayed down as the flick comes in from Rodriguez to try and pick out Robson Kanu, but Bolton don't clear. Here is Robson Kanu again, but he tries to thread the eye of the needle to pick out Gale, and Bolton will clear, and it's all very untidy around both penalty areas.
Yeah, but it seems to be affecting West Brom more than Bolton, to be honest with you. I mean, they're used to this. They're having to scrap for their lives to stay in this division, Bolton. But I think West Brom's used to a slicker, more quality passing game, and it's affected them a little bit.
Olkowski coming forward now. Amiobi makes the run wide to the right hand side, but Olkowski comes in field, and here is Lowe now. He's got support from the pole, and Lowe will try and get Bolton moving down the left hand side with Taylor. Has support from Noon, but Bolton here do have to make 3 or 4 passes to maybe try and see the pass, and as a result West Brom were able to clear.
Yeah, I look at that as well, Nigel. When Taylor steps in and he picks the ball up, he's got to see McGuinness. He's got to come across as that target man. He's got to be able to play that ball into him and play forward, and he's the other side of Hegazi. He needs to get himself in front as a target.
And here is Noon now on this near side, and Buckley is trying to get close to McGuinness, with O'Neill dropping deeper into midfield, but it's Noon coming forward now down the left, and he entices the challenge from Holgate, and it will be a throw-in to Bolton Wanderers with 19 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. West Brom still leading by that J. Rodriguez goal, headed in almost on the goal line on 19 minutes. And if there is to be another goal in this game, Bolton at the moment look the more likely goal scorers, as McGuinness tries to flick on a long throw from Taylor, and the Bolton crowd were looking for a corner, claiming the final touch was off Dawson, but a goal kick has been given.
Yeah, difficult to see from here. All the good work from Bolton has come down this left hand side with Taylor and Noon, and if I was Phil Parkinson, I'd be trying to get the ball out here as much as I could.
Holgate infield towards Robson Kanu, but again they're trying to be too intricate, the West Brom strikers. It's all little flicks and dummies, when maybe it's the sort of night to be a bit more prosaic and just get the ball down. Here is Gibbs now on the left hand side, supported by Field. He'll try and go beyond Olkowski. He does deliver the cross, but Anik is there to gather, and he quickly clears long downfield. McGuinness will challenge Dawson in the air, and it drops to Buckley, and Buckley spins away from the challenge of Barry, and Barry apologises for the foul, and I think he knows the yellow card is coming. Yeah,
I think he's took one for the team there, Gareth Barry. It's 3v2 there from the clearance from Alnwick, and he's done ever so well. It's a good ball in from Field. He's unlucky because it's a tight angle to get it in, and Alnwick does really well to come and claim it, and then clears it straight away up the pitch. It's a 3v2 situation in West Brom's favour defending it, but they do well to regain possession there, Bolton.
O'Neill with the free kick, short to Lowe. High diagonal to the far post, challenging forward is Beavers, who nods it down. Noon then acrobatically volleys it across the face of goal, and in the end it's volleyed clear at the far post by Gibbs, and Bolton will have to try and build from very deep once again as Olkowski goes back towards his goalkeeper Anik, who just takes a chance there with Gale in the vicinity, then finds Olkowski again, plays him into trouble, but the fullback is able just to knock the ball off the closest player, Rodriguez, and it's a throw into Bolton.
Yeah, just going back to that last opportunity there for Craig Noone. Typical example of a little bit more time than what he thought, and he rushed it. He tried to volley the ball back across the goal and keep it alive. If he controls that in the box, it's dangerous.
Jack Hobbs now able to bring the ball over the halfway line and goes back towards this near side and Beavers, and here is Taylor down the Bolton left, but the ball forward is controlled by Holgate, who was barged over by McGuinness, who at least has tried to show some sort of industry, but at the expense of a free kick to West Brom as we tick into the 74th minute, and they still lead by a goal to nil, and they are inching towards their 7th away win of the season, but no more than that.
No, and I think that this will be a good clean sheet for West Brom to take. It's always difficult coming to sides that are fighting for their lives and scrapping for points, and if they can nil Bolton tonight, it would be a good achievement by West Brom.
Well, many teams have been able to nil Bolton. They failed to score in 14 games so far this season, only managing 18 in total, and they've conceded 40. As Rodriguez plays it forward, and here was an opportunity to make it 2-0, and West Brom have got the second goal, and it's Sam Field who raced through unmarked to score his first goal of the season. Bolton was sleeping, West Brom have capitalised, and they are heading within 3 points of the top two. Bolton 0, West Brom 2.
Yeah, really well took goal. I mean, it's a real body blow for Bolton when they were just trying to find a feet and get themselves back in this game, and the real architect of that, I think, was Rodriguez, a little dummy just to let Field go through, but he does well, Field, because he gets onto the ball, draws the keeper Alnwick and just slides it underneath him. Great composure, and for a youngster, it's a good finish for him.
Sam Field's second goal for West Brom. He scored in the Premier League against Newcastle back in November 2017, but this is first of the season, and Bolton, as the home fans may have feared, were just picked apart by one simple pass.
Yeah, I tell you what, the two kids in midfield have been brilliant for West Brom, Harper and Field.
2-0 with 15 minutes to play, and you cannot make any sort of case for Bolton coming back into this game now.
Well, you see, and that'll play on the minds, these Bolton players. They'll know that they've struggled to score all season, and now they've given themselves a mountain to climb. They need 3 to win now.
Well, they've scored 8 in 13.
Well, there you are.
And have they really looked like scoring tonight? They've had 1 or 2 opportunities, the long range shots, but it's been efforts from long range, and it's been, picture book goals, which they would have been from Amiobi and Lowe. They've not actually created anything really what you would call a normal chance, have they? No,
and really, the big thing for me, if you look at Bolton Wanderers, if you're coming here and on a scouting mission and looking at Bolton Wanderers, and how do they score? What do they look like when they score a goal? What is their identity? And I don't think you could come up with it. Do you know what I mean? Because there's not an obvious way that they go forward and attack. A lot of it's off the cuff. If it's through Craig Noone, perhaps, who's on the ball now, they might drop on a little bit of quality. But other than that, they've got nothing.
Well, here is Noone's cross, looking for Buckley at the near post, and he tried to arch his neck muscles and glance it towards the near post, but it's too much on it in the end, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
I mean, he's the bit of quality that they've got, Nige, Craig Noone. He's got a really good left foot, and he can pick people out with it. But it's a problem for Bolton.
Yeah, West Brom heading within 3 points of the top two, and they'll be above Sheffield United on goal difference, 3 points behind Norwich, and they will have a keen eye on events at Carrow Road this Saturday. Many teams are in FA Cup action, but Norwich are playing Sheffield United, and then Norwich have to play Leeds, so it could be a defining week for Norwich City. And if they win on Saturday, they'll be 6 points clear of Sheffield United, and long way to go, but that's a big gap, isn't it?
It is a massive gap.
And it clears downfield, and we have 12 minutes of normal time to play here. West Brom leading by 2 goals to nil. and they've really had to grind this out in the second half. It has not been the sort of scintillating football we've seen from them on many occasions this season when the goals have flown in, but maybe Darren Moore will take more satisfaction from seeing his side guts out a win for a change.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it's like they've come to terms with the Championship.
Here's Amiobi though for Bolton on the right hand side, back to Olkowski, a low ball slid in, and it's a poor ball which is cut out by Field, and now Gibbs, who is so athletic, will charge forward over the halfway line, pokes it in field, appeals for handball against Lowe, and the referee agrees, and it's a free kick to West Brom.
Yeah, there's a little bit unlucky there, Lowe. I don't know how he could get away with that, to be honest with you, because he's that close to Gibb when he goes to play that pass. Just strikes him on the arm. He's battled manfully in there, Lowe, to be fair. He's tried his best, he's brought play up, but I think these young players have just been too good for him, these West Brom young players, and Gareth Barry in there, Harper and Field. They played really well for West Brom tonight.
And Barry is over the free kick, and Bolton look like a side who know the game has gone. It's worked short towards Harper, back towards Barry again, a player who is old enough to be his father, but they've done really well in tandem. And Barry again finds Field, who looks as though he scored the clinching goal, or certainly the goal which will ensure that Bolton won't come back into this game. And West Brom now just looking to see things out as we head into the final 10 minutes on TalkSport 2. Checkatrade Trophy commentary coming up tomorrow. Sunderland against Manchester City under-21s. Then it's the first test from Bridgetown, Barbados, live and exclusive to TalkSport 2 from 1 o'clock on Wednesday, with Burton against Manchester City in the evening. On Thursday on TalkSport, Chelsea against Spurs, the Carabao Cup second semi-final, second leg, and on Friday, FA Cup action from the fourth round. It's the big one, live and exclusive to national radio. Arsenal against Manchester United. Holgate with a throw-in for West Brom on this near side, as the rain continues to tumble down and the temperature continues to tumble below zero. Holgate picks his way into the penalty area, tries to curl in a shot left-footed, and it took a deflection off a Bolton head on the way through, and it's gone behind for a corner. Yeah,
it's a good effort by Holgate. He's been a top performer tonight, showing all his Premiership class that he's got, and they just look resigned to what's happening to him at this moment in time, Bolton. There's a lack of intensity in closing Holgate down there when he came inside on his left foot.
And the corner drifted in by Field, headed onto the far post, volleyed across the face of goal by Dawson, and it's actually kept in field by Field, and then Dawson again will try and get on the end of his cross, and it's cleared away on this near side by Bolton, but it's quickly won back. Dawson again, the central defender as a left winger on the far side, has support from Barry, and Dawson will just try and hold on to the ball, and he's done well to nip it off Amiobi, and it will be a throw-in for West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, it's been comfortable for Dawson and Agazi at the back, really, and they've been more on the ball, playing and in possession than having to defend. And you see, look at them now, West Brom, and every yellow shirt is in that Bolton half of the field.
Third change for Bolton. Joe Pritchard, a youngster signed from the academy at Tottenham, will now come on for Bolton to make his debut, and it's Craig Noon who goes off.
Yeah, he played well tonight, Craig Noon. I'm impressed with him. You know, to be honest with you, know, if they're going to get out of this Bolton, they need to do a little bit more with the ball. They need to do more. You know, you've got to battle and fight, yeah, the position that they're in, but they've got to have the ball and they've got to do more. If they're going to create and score goals, they've got to have the football more.
Bakary Sakho will be coming on shortly for West Brom as Bolton play the early ball forward over the top. McGuinness will chase down the left-hand side. 2-8 for the cross. O'Neill and Buckley. McGuinness continues, now fires in the cross, which is deflected behind off Hegazi for a corner.
Yeah, good break. He's given him a little bit of energy, McGuinness, to be fair. He's put himself about. He's a powerful boy. He's run the channels well, and he forces that corner well for Bolton,
which will be taken by Gary O'Neill. Down this near side, the Bolton left. And very few Bolton fans have left so far, as the corner is whipped in and headed away at the near post by Field, and Robson Kanu can run and bring the ball clear. He will try and isolate Pritchard and take him on for pace, but in the end runs it out of play, and it will be a throw-in, and West Brom may be able to make the change. Of course, they had to replace Chris Brunt in the first half due to injury. Sam Field came on and has scored their second goal. And it will be interesting to see if the Bolton protesters have anything in mind for full time. But there is a very thick line of police and stewards between the main protesters and the pitch on the far side.
It's quite obvious where they think they are.
Yes, well, it's not that difficult, is it?
No.
Judging from the scenes in the first half. And the Anderson out banner is still unfurled over the top tier of the stand on the far side, as Robson Kanu comes off to be replaced by Bakary Sako.
Yeah, he's put a good shift in tonight, Robson Kanu. Plays with energy, plays with his heart on his sleeve. He's looked a real threat.
And it's a defensive change. Sako will come on just to shore things up. Scored in the FA Cup recently, the only goal against Wigan in the third round. And I'm sure he'll get a run out at the weekend when West Brom go to Brighton. The Bolton free kick comes to nothing, and now Sako can bring the ball clear. Plays the early ball over the top into acres of space, and Gale will chase, but he won't keep the ball in play, and it will be a throw into Bolton on this near side. And with a better ball there, Gale was away.
Yeah, he just didn't have the feel for it. It was the right idea. He knew where Gale was, and he tried to play it blind across him with his left foot, but it was a difficult pass to execute, to be fair.
O'Neill flicks it in field to Lowe, and it's over the top, but Agazi will gather again for West Brom. Here is Sako. Sako has support from Gibbs, and Gibbs will now find Field again, who has grown into the game with more confidence the longer it's gone on, as we head into the final 4 minutes here on TalkSport 2. West Bromwich Albion leading here by 2-0, and Bolton's miserable run will be extended to 1 win in 18 games, and yet again they will have failed to score. Here is Rodriguez coming forward for West Brom. He's got support from Holgate, but the low cross doesn't find Sako, and Bolton can clear, but there is no real impetus from the crowd here, even though Bolton were on the attack, but there was no real expectation from the crowd that anything would happen.
No, there's definitely a sign of resignation here that it's definitely going to be a defeat for Bolton. But you know, I think they've battled, they've given everything they've got. They just lack real championship quality in and around the box.
And Guy Clark, our producer, has come up with an amazing stat. Of course, Jay Rodriguez has scored past Ben Alnwick today. 10 years ago to the day, he scored against Ben Alnwick for Burnley against Tottenham. I'd love to tell you that Guy sourced that stat himself, but he didn't. Thanks to Sky. Here is Buckley inside the penalty area. Dropped to him on the volley, right-footed, and it was always swinging away from goal. And a few oohs and ahs from a home crowd who now just sound very cold and very bored.
Yeah. See, that's the thing as well. I mean, that's sort of an half chance, really, there. And did he really believe that he were going to put that in the back of the net?
Didn't look like he did, did he?
No, that's the problem.
But it's going to be a free kick, or rather a goal kick, for West Bromwich Albion, taken by Sam Johnston. Long downfield, quickly played forward by Hobbs again. Pritchard is able to spin and try and play McGuinness on the edge of the penalty area. McGuinness has support on his outside. He was looking for Olkowski, but intercepting well on the far side was Gibbs to play it back towards his goalkeeper Johnston, and West Brom looked to exploit the space which Olkowski had vacated on the far side, but Bolton do well to win it back. 2.5 minutes to play. Bolton trail 2-0. Taylor with a high cross into the area, which is nodded away by Field. Now Sako comes in field, plays it back towards Hegazi. Bolton heading for only their 4th clean sheet in the league this season. But now Amiobi looking to change that with a high Diagonal ball into the penalty area. Buckley then fouls Dawson as he tries to win it back, and they have a free kick.
Yeah, it's been comfortable for West Brom, Nigel. You know, and as much as they've often puffed Bolton and had little periods of the game where they've threatened a little bit, it has been really comfortable for West Brom.
Have you ever really felt they were going to score?
No, that is the problem. You know, and you can see that lack of belief amongst the players if you're honest. If you're really, really honest and look at them throughout the 90 minutes, I don't think there's a Bolton player there that you actually believes he's going to go and score tonight.
Beavers heads the ball away as the rain gets ever heavier here. Gale spins away from Lowe and he's fouled by Lowe, and it's a free kick in the sort of range which Gale tried his luck from in the first half. And with 90 seconds to play, 2-0 up, why not?
Why not? Why not?
But this ground now is emptying. It is very quiet, sparsely populated, and it's sad to see. I mean, neither of us are Bolton fans, but you know, we remember some very good games here in the Premier League. They were an established club, but at the moment it just feels like a club going nowhere.
Well, I tell you what has been really apparent, Nigel. They've not really took it out on the players.
No.
It's almost like...
It's not their fault. They're doing their best, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like the game's going on. It's what's happening other than what's on the pitch that's a problem for them.
And here is Gale over the free kick, and he'll try his luck right-footed, but this time Anik does not even have to make a dive. It actually goes down the vomitory onto the concourse there, and of course there are no fans in that area, so the steward, who's been sat there all night, has to get up and go and retrieve the ball before it heads into a T-bar, because that area of the ground is completely unoccupied.
That was a more difficult skill than actually putting it in the net to find that.
Yes, it's like trying to hit a dustbin from 35 yards, which he almost did. As we head into the final seconds of the 90th minute here, and Phil Parkinson turns away as another free kick has been given to West Bromwich Albion, and it's a huge game coming up for Bolton in the league as we go into 3 minutes of added time. They've got the FA Cup, of course, at the weekend on Friday night at Bristol City, then at home to Reading, which it's must win, isn't it? Must win for both.
Yeah, they've got to start winning. They've got to start getting points, you know, and they've got to start now. It could be too late if they don't.
Well, they survived with 2 goals in the final 4 minutes last season to end up on 43 points, but at the moment they are 21 points away from that total, and the games are running out already, and you can't really make a case for them scoring enough goals if they concede at the other end, which they do with regularity.
Yeah, but to me the most worrying thing is that they've almost laid down a little bit tonight. They've huffed and puffed a little bit, but have they really put this West Brom side to the sword? Not really.
Well, they have won a corner, and we're a minute into added time. Buckley, the player who has helped to win it on this near side, and Gary O'Neill will take the corner. And West Brom have everybody bar Dwight Gale back defending inside their penalty area. O'Neill's delivery, Johnston stays at home, and McGuinness with the header, and it's a sharp save by Johnston in the end.
I mean, having said all that, you know, he's made 2 or 3 good saves, Johnston, and that's another good save. I mean, he should save it because it's a savable height, but he reads it that well. He actually catches it and takes it in. But he's played really well tonight. When he's been called upon, when you need him, he's done his stuff. I mean, one of the big pluses for me for West Brom tonight, as well as being these young kids in midfield, you know, I think Harper and Fields have been fantastic, and they've got the perfect older experienced player to go with them in Gareth Barry. He's been majestic.
And Harper will come off for the final minute or so, and another youngster, Toshin Adebayo, on loan from Manchester City, will come on. He's been the starting right back for much of the season, but he's been displaced since the arrival of Holgate, and he's had 1 or 2 difficult moments in the West Brom defence, which usually concedes a goal, but not tonight so far, with 40 seconds of added time to play. Now Johnston finding Higazi on the far side. He will try and take on Pritchard, and then just runs the ball out of play. So Bolton will try and finish this game on the attack. To throw in for them on the far side, which is taken towards Hobbs, and then Hobbs will have to go all the way across to this near side, and Beavers, a long ball forward from him. Challenging forward is Buckley, but it's volley clear up towards the halfway line by Holgate, but Bolton win it back. Taylor finding Lowe, and now Hobbs, as West Brom quickly get back into their shape to try and protect a very rare clean sheet, which they have, as the full-time whistle goes, and the rather muted response tells you about the nature of this game. West Bromwich Albion have done what they had to do. They've won this game to go above Sheffield United on goal difference, within 3 points of Norwich, who are currently second in the Championship, but Bolton Wanderers remain 1 place off the bottom. It is their 7th home defeat of the season, and from the moment they conceded, although they had their moments in terms of territorial dominance, you never really felt they were going to come back into this game. It's another match in which they failed to score. It's a rare clean sheet for West Bromwich Albion. It is finished. Bolton Wanderers 0, West Bromwich Albion 2.